tots
Toys
to
for
Bob's.
Tots.
Toys for
Toys
Tots,
for Tots.
yes.
I was able to
Yes.
give that to them from the money we raised, so we need 3 more people for the dunk pool that can help us out.
So
Mark-
call in.
Mark
That's
will be
open
happy.
phones, right? Call
That's
in.
true, and Mark will do it, I'm sure.
Thank you,
No,
Mark.
I retired from the dunk tank.
We want the firemen out there if we can get them, so we're looking out. So if you hear us, please come out and help us.
I'll tell you who's got to be dunked is the new police chief.
You know, I was thinking the same thing.
He's singing.
He is singing, but I think that he could be singing in the rain.
Liquid notes,
Right.
yeah. Okay, I think that's wonderful. And yeah, if somebody would like to participate in the dunk tank, and you really ought to be somebody who people will
Recognize.
enjoy dropping into the water.
That's right.
I would bet the mayor of the town has been asked.
He's done it for the last couple of years,
Yeah,
but his
I-
back isn't too good this year. So
That's one of the problems with the
Yes.
dunk
Right.
tape. I used to do that, and it's a solid drop.
Yeah,
It is.
It's only fun for the person throwing the balls.
Yeah.
I can assure you that. And the most successful dunk tank I ever saw was at Sunbury Celebration. The Shikellamy cheerleaders had a dunk tank, and the girls were in the tank, or on the stand, hopefully not in the tank, but of course they ended up in it. And there was a long line of adolescent boys just lined up trying to dunk them. So
Okay, cheerleaders, give us a call, please.
Yeah, so check that out.
Wises
Okay.
is also looking for us for someone for the dunk tank, so I thought that would be nice, one of their bosses.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
And
yeah.
they're coming down, put a stand out also.
Oh, it's
I
being
think
ni-
we're going to have a lot of volunteers after this
Let's
conversation.
call,
I think so.
let's call on Jonathan Wise to...
Yeah.
I already called.
Okay.
They're going to look for someone for us.
Okay, wonderful. Where is the center of activity, Connie? We have such nice parks. We have the riverfront. We have a beautiful city. Where's the
Park.
center? Cameron
we'll
Park's
be at
the
Cameron
center.
Park. And again, like I said, there's going to be free hot dogs, chips, and soda, too, that night for everybody. And our workers get free pizza
Oh,
And coffee from Dunkin'
and
Donuts.
coffee and donuts.
That's the most important part.
and again, when does it start?
It starts at 5 p.m. We're going to set up at 3 p.m. in the park, so if you're available to come out and help us set up, we would really appreciate it at 3 p.m. 5 o'clock we will start, and it's 5 to 9. Our Chinese auction starts at 8 to 9.
We start the giveaways, pulling the names for the
And
Chinese
we have
auction.
Spirit Research is going to be there this year, and what really is fantastic is we're going to have a tour every 45 minutes of Market Street and let you know what the buildings are.
Oh, yeah, and whether they're haunted or not, that's
Right,
Victoria.
the
Yes.
historical,
The Masonic Temple, so forth, and different places, our church and the Presbyterian Church, they're going to be doing that.
we are very excited that they're going to be giving these tours and telling the history of these buildings. I think that's incredible.
This is our first year to
Yes.
do that.
Good. Okay, well, Victoria Rosencrantz doing that with Spirit Reachers. All right, well, we're just about out of time on this segment, so we're going to ask you both to make a pitch for folks to go to Sunbury's National Night Out next Tuesday evening. I think of it as starting around 5 p.m. or so.
We'll start at 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., and I'd like everybody to come out. If nothing else, come out and get a free hot dog, chip, and soda, and you may be one of the lucky winners to be given a gift.
That is great. And again, what a wonderful tradition that kind of blends the town and the cops and the services that are available. The
Yes, it
policemen
does.
kind of are in sight, and so are other services that the city and, I suppose, the county
That's
provide.
correct.
They're
That's
all
correct.
coming this year.
Good.
All
And
right.
it's a great thing you do.
An additional pitch for folks to come out, Jamie.
So many of you have come out year after year, and we are looking forward to seeing you once again this year. And make sure you let a friend or a neighbor know about it before you come down, and let them know how much fun you have. And that's really all we need.
All right. Well, thank you both so much. Jamie Quinn, a corporal in the Sunbury Police Department, and has been active helping the Crime Watch program, helping them in terms of what the community policing can do in the city of Sunbury, helping make the National Night Out a success as much as you need to. Just kind of stay out of Connie's way is the method of operation.
Well,
But
I go where Connie tells me. She points it out, and I say, okay, got it.
you're
got
going
it.
on WKOK. We have to talk to the Daily Item this
Right.
day. We're doing that.
That's what I do.
Thank you so much, Connie, for all you do. Connie Beagle of Sunbury. Thank
I
you.
thank you all for what you've done for me for all 35 years.
Has it been 35? Well,
Yeah.
I have known you for a little while then, haven't I?
And her volunteerism caught the eye of the governor. See, she's been honored by the governors as well in Pennsylvania.
And well should be.
Yes.
You're listening to News Radio 1070 WKOK, our On the Mark program. We will now take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll start out with open phones here on WKOK.
For a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
Here are some sobering statistics from a national insurance company. 82% of teens use cell phones while driving. 48% of girls are likely to speed 10 miles per hour over the limit versus boys 36%. And 76% of teens say they feel unsafe while another teen drives. Let's empower teens to promote smart driving. Tell them to take action if someone's been drinking, is speeding, or using their phone.
This message brought to you by the stations of Sunbury Broadcasting Corporation, including News Radio 1070 WKOK and Sealands Grove Ford, proud supporters of Susquehanna Smart Drive.
Big Ten Football Media Week is over. We're going to get the take of Adam Rittenberg from ESPN.com today on the Steve Jones Show, 3 to 5, News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Welcome back to the WKOK Live Telephone Talk Show. It is entitled On the Mark. The webcam is up and running. Kevin sends us a note saying there was a little glitcheroonie at the beginning, but it is running now. So that is cranking out the great video image and the great audio, so we invite you to check that out. I am Mark Lawrence, the subpar host of the show, but always glad to be here at 8:30 to 10 a.m. We invite you also to follow the show via the webcam at WKOK.com or WKOK's YouTube channel, or you can download the Sunbury Broadcasting Corporation app on your smartphone, iPhone, or Droidy, or I guess Blackberries. Do it too, and then you can find out how these things...
It is not available for Blackberry, just for
I'm sorry.
clarification.
How about strawberries?
And not the Windows operating system either.
Okay, so President Barack Obama, sorry, the BlackBerry won't work. As near as I can tell, he's got the last one in America. And so we invite folks to watch it via the iPhone or the Galaxy Samsung Super Smart phone that is out there. So the webcam is up and running, and that's one of the ways for you to watch it. So we thank our sponsor, Sunbury Motor Company, Lenape Solar and Groninger Insurance, Dan Mitchell across from me, the wisdom of Winfield, or the teacher from Turbitville, whatever nickname you think applies.
Turtleville, not Turbot. Turtle.
Oh,
Turtleville, yeah.
Turtleville, right, so...
what an interesting program that was that Jamie and Connie came with. I guess I should call her Officer Quinn or Corporal Quinn, but they came in with an interesting program. I'd like to just say congratulations to Brad Hare for becoming the full-time police chief in Sunbury. I think that's a horribly tough job, and I think he found out, if not for the first time, I think for the first time, how tough it can be a few weeks ago when he was attacked and he had to pull his pistol and fire, and I would think that's one of the toughest things that a police officer can possibly do, and we congratulate him on being the new chief in Sunbury.
All right, we lost a couple of emails in the Lenape Solar email in basket because of a reboot. I see there's only 3 there now. There were 6. One comes from Cindy, another from Drew, and another from Caitlin. So in the last 24 hours, if you send us an email that you'd like us to read, send it again. Most of these, I believe, came in after the previous show. So if you've sent an important email lately and we haven't read it, you might want to send it again when we get that Outlook Express program squared away. It appears to be running now, but it does doesn't have all the emails in it, so and they're not in the delete basket. So we'll try to get those.
Every once in a while, the computer decides on its own what it
we're
wants
overly
us to
dependent
read.
on computers around here.
Camera's looking good. The one thing that we've got to fix, though, and I noticed it when Connie Beagle and Jamie Quinn were here, they are way off in the distance down there. And what we ought to do is trade places and go down there so the pretty ladies can be seen up here.
Oh, instead of us?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think Kevin has the ability and did zoom in on them, so that should help satisfy the need to see something better than us.
And, of course, that computer glitch also caused a bit of a problem with the camera at first, and he did straighten it out very nicely.
So that is up and running. Lately, we've talked about immigration. We do not have any words about that today. Yesterday, we talked about tax-free status for churches and nonprofit organizations and universities. Of course, all of those should be rescinded. They should pay their fair share of taxes. But
According to Mark Lawrence.
well, this is an opinion show. Do I have to say this is my opinion every sentence?
Yeah, I think you do, because you make it sound like it's everybody's opinion on the program or anybody that's associated with the program.
So far, it's 2 out of 3, Kevin.
That's fine. I don't want to be associated with Mark's opinion.
Okay, well, I am associated with Mark's opinion, and I do understand that a organization that does a lot for people around it, churches included, should certainly get help from us, the taxpayers, and that means the government. But I think there are places, mega churches, small churches, where there are parts of it that probably should pay taxes that don't. I think everybody should realize we live in a country where the dues are not very high to live here. We should not be upset with paying a few taxes, including churches.
I just don't see why churches and schools should be tax-free. So we'll take that up at the top of the hour. We have to talk about the passing of Dutch Van Kirk, Ted Dutch Van Kirk. We'll talk about that when we go through the news. We'll talk about this tax-free status and the fact that it is everyone's opinion in the world that churches should pay taxes.
Except for Kevin's.
And maybe someone else's. And
it is an opinion show. That's my opinion.
All right, so you're listening to News Radio 1070 WKOK. Sunbury.
CBS News, I'm Frank Settapani. More jobs, more growth for the economy. That's the bottom line on a pair of reports released a short time ago. One points to a gain of 218,000 private sector jobs this month. The other shows that business activity picked up during the spring, growing at a crisp 4% annual rate as the weather got warmer.
Yes, the economy fell in a hole in the first quarter, kind of a frozen hole, but came springing out of it in the spring quarter.
Economist Stuart Hoffman expects that momentum to keep things humming for the rest of the year. If that keeps up, forecaster Mark Zandi can see a time where most able-bodied workers would be able to find a job.
Everything roughly sticks to script. We'll be back to full employment by the end of 2016.
To the Middle East now, where Israeli army forces are 1 hour into a 4-hour humanitarian ceasefire in parts of the Gaza Strip. Earlier, Israeli shelling killed at least 15 Palestinians who'd taken refuge in a UN school. Pernilla Ironside is UNICEF's representative in Gaza.
They fled from other surrounding areas that also have received evacuation notices, but there simply is nowhere safe for people to go.
CBS's Barry Peterson tells us that's no exaggeration.
What we are seeing is people near the main hospital living under blankets. They are literally living on the sidewalk. They've run out of their neighborhoods, their homes damaged or destroyed.
The Israeli army says it shelled the UN refugee center in Gaza after Hamas fighters launched mortars from nearby positions. Governor Jerry Brown says California is open to taking in more children from Central America. Live to CBS News correspondent Heather Bosch.
A naval base in Ventura County is already housing some of the undocumented children traveling by themselves into the U.S. During a trip to Mexico, Governor Brown said California would take more, but the U.S. needs to come up with a long-term solution for the surge of migrants fleeing violence and poverty. Brown says the U.S. spends billions to shore up the border. Investing a little in other programs in Central America might make the U.S. more secure.
Hyundai is recalling its popular Sonata mid-size sedan to fix problems with the gear shift levers. The automatic transmission shift cable can separate from the lever. If that happens, the lever may not show what gear the transmission is in. The recall affects Sonatas from the 2011 through 2014 model years. Parts of the UCLA campus in the Westwood section of Los Angeles are a soggy mess, damaged by a geyser of water from a rupture in a century-old main.
You could hear the crack of the cement and then just the roar of water, as if you're at like a water park.
Overseas, 33 people died in a stampede after a rap concert in Conakry, Guinea on the western coast of Africa. More than 150 people could be trapped in a mudslide caused by monsoon rains in western India. In Ukraine, 19 people have died in fighting the past 24 hours between government forces and pro-Russia rebels around Donetsk. S&P futures are up 8.5 points. This is CBS News.
You've been thinking about moving over to solar power for your home. So are a lot of other people, which is why some power companies are pushing for extra fees to make up the difference. Is it finally happening? Is solar power actually becoming a threat to the old power conglomerates? Don't fund Big Power's losses while everybody else goes solar. Get caught in the middle, or go with a trusted local solar company and actually own it, and reduce your energy bill with no down payment, interest, or payments for a whole year. Get tax breaks and big monthly energy savings. Avoid falling behind and paying extra. Don't be the last one in line. Our nation's power supplies are shifting. Wait too long and you may wind up paying for it. Want to completely eliminate your power bill? Get all the tax incentives you're entitled to while you still can. And do it locally, because local is accountable. And we finance. Call 1-800-MY-SOLAR for a free in-home assessment. 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
My home, my savings, 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
You have a right to know where your steak came from. That's what the government says, and now it's what a federal appeals court says. CBS's Bill Whitney has the story.
The U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia has upheld the rules, which went into effect last year. They require labels on packaged steaks, ribs, and other cuts of meat to show where the animal was born, where it was raised, and where it was slaughtered. Chris Waldrop of the Consumer Federation of America says the ruling is a victory.
Consumers want this information. Consumers deserve this information. They have a right to know it. And consumers should know where their food's coming from.
The industry says the paperwork is burdensome and the labels provide no health benefits to consumers. Bill Whitney, CBS News.
Here in New York, people dressed up as Spider-Man, Elmo, and other cartoon or TV characters have been making a nuisance of themselves lately in Times Square, hitting tourists up for money and, in some cases, getting physical with them or the police. City officials say it may be time to begin regulating street characters. Frank Sedapani, CBS News.
If there were an 83% chance of rain, you'd probably grab an umbrella. If there were an 83% chance you could hit the lottery, you'd probably buy a ticket. So if there was an 83% chance that one of your vehicle's tires had a problem, what would you do? The experts at your Ford dealer know that whether it's not properly inflated, losing tread, or wearing unevenly, 83% of all vehicles have an issue with at least one tire. So have your tires checked by the factory-trained experts at your Ford dealer. They know your Ford and its tires better than anyone.
And now get up to $130 in mail-in rebates on select tires when you use the Ford Service Credit Card. And you'll always get the low-price tire guarantee on the 13 name brands we sell.
Ford, go further.
Subject to credit approval. Rebate by prepaid debit card. Competitive ad required for tire guarantee within 30 days. Other tire manufacturer rebate or offer cannot be combined with Ford Service Credit Card rebate or offer. Data from Rubber Manufacturers Association. See your participating Ford dealer for details through 8/31/14.
News Radio 1070 WKOK presents On the Mark. It's a chance to voice your opinion on the events that affect life in the Susquehanna Valley. Call 1-800-795-9565 or email onthemark@wkok.com. Now, here are your hosts for On the Mark, Mark Lawrence and Than Mitchell.
Greetings and welcome on board the WKOK Live Telephone Talk Show and the live stream video that is posted at WKOK. You can watch it now at WKOK.com, or you can go to WKOK's YouTube channel and watch the show afterwards. It's on video, and we look stupendous today.
When you started that word, I didn't know where you were going to end.
We look stupid.
Actually, we both waved at the camera. I think we're supposed to act like we don't know there's a camera there, aren't
Holy
we?
smokes. Tony sent us a note. Mark, you're right. You look stupid. How can you even be that ready to type that note so fast?
Some things you just have entered in your phone and you hit send.
Not Tony, that's from Dave.
Yeah.
It says, "You look stupid."
It's funny. I have a few of those that are pre-typed in for text messages. One of them is "You're wrong, Mark." The other one is "No, Mark," and the last one is just "No."
That's funny. That's funny. Well, thank you so much. So we are on the webcam, and we look something, so please check it out. The webcam is up and running. Kevin makes the visuals perfect. The lighting is ideal, and unfortunately the women are gone, so we don't have anything else for you to watch except old Ben old Than and I, but we're there.
Don't call Ben old. He's a young man.
Old Ben. So, yeah, check it out.
He's got a lot to learn, and so we know he's a young man.
At WKOK. Let's see. So the webcam is up and running. Please know that. On the Mark, brought to you by the Sunbury Motor Company, family-owned dealership since 1915, 4th Street, Sunbury, and routes 11 and 15, Hummels Wharf. And even though they cringe every time they say it, they are the main sponsor of the On the Mark show. And so we thank them for that. If you go to Sunbury Motors, boy, I'll tell you what a facility. They specialize in all types of services, whether you need a van for your business. They got large, medium, and tiny vans for you to work out of. If you need a truck, they got microscopic all the way up to, holy smokes, look at all those wheels trucks, and they would just love to help you out. SunburyMotors.com.
I drove by there the other day. Since I live in Winfield, I don't use 4th Street in Sunbury like I used to, and I drove by the Sunbury Motor Company. Oh my goodness, that is a huge facility with, I would say, 8 to 10 million cars. I mean, there's cars everywhere, new, used, trucks.
A million cars.
It slowed down traffic. I'm not kidding. It's a big facility. It's beautiful.
A million would be on the higher estimate range.
Well, that's after a good week.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I also saw free money available at through Ford at Sunbury Motors. 0% for 72 months.
Yeah, how about that? That is a long loan.
Oh.
Plus 0%, so you can't beat that. Yeah, they're trying to move some 2014s, and that is a great way to do it. So it certainly works at our household. When you say 0% or same as cash, I get up out of the recliner and start looking around.
Even you get up.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah.
Wait a minute. I know you. You're a German. You're very careful with your money.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, when I said the other day that they were using my Raptor for a heat test, where they invited us down there to watch some fellow get and sit in the heat and just enjoy what that was all about. I didn't actually see it, but they did invite us. But in any event, afterward I said, "You were in my Raptor," and he says, "No, it's only your Raptor if you clog out the sound of that bird in the background saying cheep, 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 cheep." So yeah, my little truck, you could put about 2 of my trucks in the back of the Raptor. So, hey, we do not have yet one of those. Groninger Insurance Agency is up and running. You don't have to be cheap to go there because they're interested in saving you money, but getting great value out of your insurance dollar. And whether it's insuring your home for natural disasters or flood insurance or liability, as every homeowner should have, or your business, same topics generally, or flood insurance or other types of insurance, life insurance. Boy, could they hook you up with some great life insurance. They'd love to meet you and talk about this at Groninger Insurance. They certainly make initial meetings no obligation, so ponder it, talk it over with the key players in your household, and make sure that you make an informed choice. And then we guarantee you, after the more you know, the more you're likely to go to Groninger Insurance at GroningerInsurance.com, their main website. Lenape Solar email inbasket is open. You simply email on the mark at WKOK.com, and if you were kind enough to resend the emails that got blanked, as JC did, then it is an opportunity for you to send us a note. So we appreciate that. It falls into the Lenape Solar email in basket. So as for Lenape itself, they want you to harness the power of the sun for a brighter tomorrow, whether it's generating electricity that you're going to use in your home to charge up your batteries or charge your solar-powered car, or whether you're going to use the electricity just to shock yourself out of bed in the morning because you have trouble waking up at 7 a.m., they can help you out. Or if you're going to generate heat, use the heat from the sun to make some hot water, and use that then to supplement the heating of the domestic hot water in your house, or you could use it to heat a hot tub or something like that. They would just love to help you out. LenapeSolar.com, their main website. We do have some news headlines to pass along.
Actually, before you do that, I got to share this real quick, Mark. Okay. You said that the emails got blanked.
Right.
The first thing that popped into my head was Gene Rayburn.
Wow.
You remember the match game?
Of course.
Yeah.
And Match was blank was a...
Mark couldn't find the emails because the emails got blanked.
Not seeing the show, I don't know what that's all about, but I'll bet it's funny.
Things got blanked. People got blanked. I was looking for a person, but he got
blanked.
Right.
Yeah, see what the game show was, the premise was you had 2 contestants and 6 celebrities, and you had to match what the celebrities would say.
I see.
So he would always have these funny sentences. Says, at Mount Rushmore, there's 3 presidents, Washington, Lincoln, Roosevelt, but the other one is blank.
Oh,
so
I
people
see.
got blanked,
Yes,
or they would say there was a national landmark, but it got blanked.
Yep.
So we'd go out and play afterward and say, oh, it's too bad Bobby can't come out and play. I guess he got blanked.
Okay, all right.
So that was the blanket humor that he was trying to add.
Covered everything there. Gotcha.
He did. So, okay. We do have really sad news to report, but boy, what a legacy he leaves behind. We're talking about Ted Dutch Van Kirk, died at the age of 93 from Northumberland originally and lived around the world and traveled the U.S. and the U.S. Army. Prior to his death, he was the last surviving member of the Enola Gay group, famous for dropping the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan in 1945. He did visit his hometown of Northumberland back in 2012. Big parade and celebration in his honor. He told us, yep, I dropped the bomb, that's all, but didn't know at the time what a history it would be or what a legacy, and even said in his book that if he knew it was an atomic bomb and the change that it would have, he would not have personally chosen to participate in that, but said the bomb was necessary to end the war as part of, quote, the warfare that was underway, which was, as we talked to Dick Simpson on the Newsline early this morning on WKOK Sunrise, the war was continuing to escalate with Japan, and that the U.S. needed to take drastic action to stop the Japanese from continuing their advances. So, Ted Van Kirk, his funerals visitation is set for Monday, and then funeral on Tuesday, and we'll have lots more to say about this as the day progresses.
And where is the funeral home that they're going to?
I believe it's all at St. John's Church.
Okay, I know that they're working together with maybe the Lepler Funeral Home in maybe Northumberland. Is that where Lepler? Epler. I'm sorry, in Northumberland. It's his comments were interesting because he did say if I had known it was an atomic bomb, I might not have gone. I don't like all of this publicity, and I think I understand that from. I was a Quaker kid, and though I don't remember that, I was alive during that period of time, and I remember the conversations and the controversy about that. And it sounds like he was somewhat conflicted by the controversy as well.
Right, and certainly didn't wish to be center of the conversation. Didn't want to be part of the debate. Did his job, was trained up, and really wanted to move on.
What he did was do his job, and I assume did his job well. And he certainly has been remembered, and he was very, very contrite about what he did.
All right, so we'll continue those words today. If you have an observation about Ted Dutch Van Kirk, I guess the nickname is just as important, feel free to give us a buzz during our On the Mark program. We have open phones right now. The City of Pittsburgh and the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center have dropped opposing lawsuits over the hospital's non-profit status. Mayoral spokesman Kevin Acklin tells the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review that the city dropped its lawsuit in hopes that the city and UPMC could draft an agreement for nonprofits to invest in city neighborhoods. The former mayor's administration sued UPMC, claiming that the network didn't act like a nonprofit, therefore shouldn't enjoy tax-exempt status. UPMC countered by suing the city in federal court, saying the tax status challenge violated UPMC's constitutional rights. The city is hoping it can eventually get nonprofits like hospitals, churches, and universities to provide regular contributions to help support the city and its services, since nonprofits don't pay taxes on some of their properties.
And one of the points that I would make, and especially since Corporal Quinn was here a little while ago, those nonprofits do use the services of a city or town or township, police, roads, all of that sort of thing, ambulances. They may have those if they happen to be a nonprofit hospital, but they do use the services of the town, and I think should contribute toward it one way or another, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think they should pay their fair share, pay the same fare that everyone else pays. There's really, if you think about it, there's no reason a nonprofit organization or a church or a school should not pay taxes. I mean, they consume massive amounts of services and pay nothing. And they say, oh, well, we contribute so much to the community. Well, so do businesses, but they pay their fair share. So we'll get back into that as the hour progresses. That's
interesting discussion.
That's the topic of the day. Governor Tom Corbett still closely holds the myth that there is a such thing as clean coal, so he's going to Pittsburgh today for a rally of coal industry supporters who oppose stricter environmental protection agency regulations for coal-fired power plants. Wednesday's rally at a minor league soccer stadium comes the day before the EPA holds 2 days of public comment hearings in the city. Starting Thursday, hundreds of people are expected to testify. Business and labor officials say the regulations will drive up electricity costs and cost jobs in the coal and energy industries. That resonates in Pennsylvania, the nation's fourth largest coal-producing state. Environmentalists say the rules will combat climate change and will force people who utilize coal-generated electricity to, quote, pay their real cost, unquote, of coal, and it will also benefit the economy in the long run by producing jobs related to more renewable, efficient energy sources. So look for that to play out in Pittsburgh starting today.
That's a tough one.
Right.
That is a tough one.
And finally, some employees at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee complained about a class aimed at teaching them how to reduce their southern accents. Now managers are calling the whole thing off. The course had been advertised as a way to feel confident in meetings and not sound like a southerner when you might need to speak with what they called a more desirable neutral accent. The class was touted as a way to be remembered for what you say and not how you say it. Carolyn Ward of the Learning and Developmental Services teaching group said an employee requested the class that was offered for others. A spokesman says the class probably wasn't presented in exactly the right way. Managers decided to cancel it after other employees complained that their southern accent makes them who they are.
There is a comedian, and I know I'll come up with his name right after the program, but one of the things he said that I thought was most insightful, he said if you hear, he has a thick southern accent, he said if you hear a man talking with a thick southern accent, you immediately and incorrectly subtract 10 to 20 IQ points from his intelligence just because he sounds like he's from the South. I think we do that with people who sound like they might be from Mexico or Germany or even England. We kind of say, well, you're different because you sound different. Nah, you just sound different.
All right, one of our listeners sent us a note that relates to words like that. Let's see if I can find it. Talk among yourselves for a moment.
Oh, okay. Actually, some of these emails do get thrown into the, what do you call that, the outside. Okay. Oh, there you go.
Found it. It says, I heard you read Caitlin's email about grammar. Shame we are all not as eloquent as her. Oh, well, we will manage. And Caitlin called out the fact that some individuals in the coal regions use nicknames and the word hobut and other references.
And they don't in her world? I mean, maybe not the same nicknames.
Right. And this wonderful, intelligent, and super engaged Shamokin resident says a note saying, oh, well, we'll manage. I lived in a good portion of my life in Shamokin and Atlas in the coal region with interludes in Charleston, South Carolina, San Antonio, Texas, Northumberland, and Quakertown. In all that time in the coal region, I never uttered the phrase hobut, but I believe I heard everyone else use it in any way, shape, or form. I noticed Caitlin used in her email. I noticed Caitlin used it in her email.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that if she speaks that way. Who am I to judge? Caitlin, speak any way you want in English and any other language. I could care less. So Caitlin, here's to your hobut.
You didn't read that exactly,
no, I'm not
but
going to
just
either.
as well. Now, I did not hear how that letter got started, but boy, ethnicity is beautifully displayed in accent, I think. I love going to the coal regions and hearing the accent. I love going out into western Snyder County where the kind of German influence is in the accent, and it's so different but it is so much a part of the ethnicity. I'd hate to see it leave.
Do you subtract a couple of 2-3 points of IQ whenever you hear somebody?
No, but I do
with a Dutch
remember
accent?
when Jimmy Carter ran for president, that people, even the Democrats I knew around me, said, I wish he sounded smarter. Well, he's a smart man. He doesn't have to change the way he talks for you. Can you understand him? That's number one. Can you understand him? That's number two. I think that's all you need.
1-800-795-9565. Should you reduce your accent if it makes you sound dumb? 1-800-7... Not to be so...
To follow up on something else,
Oh,
though,
that's just my opinion. I'm sorry.
that's right. We want to remember that this is an opinion show.
Yeah,
no facts allowed. One of the things you talked about yesterday was people learning the language. And can you think of a more beautiful accent than that Spanish sort of accent when it is well learned in English? Now, I'd like to say to that person who is griping about people not speaking English when they come over here, I'd like to send you to Spain, let's say, for about, a year, and see how long it takes you to finally stop saying, would you please say that in English because I don't know Spanish. It takes a while to learn a language. You can't just turn it on.
All right, 1-800-795-9565 is the Groninger Insurance toll-free line. We invite you to call in. We're talking about languages and accents right now. 1-800-795-9565. We still are very interested in talking about the tax-exempt status that churches foolishly enjoy in the U.S. right now. Oh, that's an opinion?
That's an opinion.
1-800-795-95. That's the truth detector incidentally going off. Whenever I tell the truth, Kevin hits the button.
Yeah, okay.
So,
he hits it quite often.
So in other words, I might as well just not even have that sound.
Well, I don't know. It's an opinion show. So 1-800. I can tell you one thing that the truth detector will go off for. Whenever you say the Lenape Solar email in basket is open, sponsored by Lenape Solar, send your note to onthemark@wkok.com. And our main sponsor is the Sunbury Motor Company.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
This is Justin Charles from Lenape Solar. Did you know we use exclusive manufacturing partners? Our solar modules are made with American components in an American factory by an American company in Milwaukee. Our lighting fixtures are made less than 3 hours away in Philadelphia. Even our fluorescent lamps are made here in the U.S., as are our solar racking systems. We're dedicated not just to quality, but our local economy. Find out more by calling 286-1496, online at lenapesolar.com, or drop by our showroom at 140 South 2nd Street, Sunbury, and see these products in person.
Here's something to think about. How do you know if your insurance is the right price? Have you ever had your insurance reviewed? Do you remember when it was reviewed? And are you getting all the discounts you deserve? Let Groninger Insurance Agency give you a free, no-obligation second opinion on your auto, home, or business insurance. Give the Groninger Insurance Agency a call today at 570-473-8107. They're proud to represent the Erie Insurance Group. It's true, if you're not insured by Groninger Insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For almost 10 years, I've been a lineman for the power company. I know service is important. That's why I also serve in the Coast Guard Reserve. Our crews respond to rising floodwaters in the Midwest, oil spills in the Gulf of Mexico, and disasters like the Haiti earthquake. The Coast Guard Reserve is a challenge I gladly take on because my country needs me.
If you were born ready, learn more at GoCoastGuard.com. Sponsored by the United States Coast Guard in cooperation with the Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Welcome back to the KOK Live Telephone Talk Show. The Groninger Insurance toll-free line is open, 1-800-795-9565. That's
Well done.
1-800-795-9565. If you connect the solar voltaic system from Lenape Solar to your brain will be...
blank.
Chris, speaking of, Chris, you're on the mark. Thanks for calling in.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Hey, one thing I wanted to mention about your setup on the computer is that I'm kind of old school. I think radio should be heard and not seen.
Well, that's not exactly that bizarre, but anyway, yeah.
I had an old saying for many years, I picked it up from somebody else, that I have a face for radio.
Yes.
That's I kind of agree with you.
That's an old line.
Yeah, it is an old line.
And the person who was calling in complaining about people not speaking English, he specifically referred to them as Puerto Ricans.
I did not remember that.
Who did that?
Now I do.
I think it was Dave.
Yeah, and
Puerto Ricans, of course, are Americans.
Yes, they are. All they can't do is vote, if I remember correctly.
It's a myth that Puerto Rican children walk into the U.S.
Yes. But, a lot of people really don't understand our relationship with, our countries that belong to us and we belong to them, and people who are our neighbors and people who are having problems. A lot of people would prefer not to know about that.
All right, 1-800-795-9565 is our telephone number. It is just my opinion, but I think churches and schools and universities should pay their fair share of taxes. To that end, one of our listeners, third smartest woman in the world, says there is a problem when a church takes a multi-million-dollar property off the tax rolls by claiming it a rectory exemption. In Boston, Trinity Church bought a $3.6 million condo with a guest house and a wine cellar. And then the Boston Globe article is cited here. She goes on to say, I interviewed a Franciscan priest in Mount Carmel in the 1990s, and I remember that he shared an apartment in a former monastery with 2 other priests. If a church decides that it needs a multi-million-dollar mansion, the taxpayer should not subsidize it through tax exemptions.
I believe that's just been addressed by Pope Frank. And I believe some bishops have lost the big mansions that they bought or had built or something like that. Haven't followed it closely, but I do believe Pope Francis did say, look, you can't have 2 Cadillacs, 3 let's use our own sponsor, 3 Lincolns, and a huge mansion and say, I'm a poor priest.
Mm-hmm. Yep, well said. Okay, one of our listeners, who's the smartest accountant in the world, says, hi, Mark, good morning. On church parsonages, the following is from an article from Church Law and Tax. Quote, a parsonage is a church-owned property used as a residence by a minister. Many states exempt such properties from taxation. Some states impose restrictions on the exemption. For example, a few states exempt parsonages only up to a specified dollar value, exempt only one parsonage for each church, or exempt the grounds surrounding a parsonage only up to a specified area. The exemption does not extend to residences owned by the ministers themselves. Generally, the courts have concluded that a church is not limited to one parsonage. As a result, unless the state property tax law specifies otherwise, a church having 2 or more full-time ministers may provide tax-free parsonage to each. Unquote. Hope this sheds some light. Take care, says Bill Roll, smartest accountant in the world. Oh, he didn't say that. I'm saying that, and it's just my opinion. So.
Well, that is an interesting thing, because I think I disagree with you on the paying the taxes for nonprofits, but I don't disagree that maybe it should be a very specific part of the nonprofit. The nonprofits that we're thinking of are like schools and churches. What other nonprofit organizations don't pay taxes?
Why should a nonprofit organization not pay property taxes?
Well, because they are conceivably helping the public in ways that saves taxpayer money.
So does Bill Roll, the
absolutely
for-profit businessman. Out
absolutely.
Okay, that's the definition right there. That's the thing you're missing in this whole thing, Mark. It is a...
That's your opinion.
I'm missing this.
This is what you're missing.
Enlighten me.
You're talking about wealth-gathering businesses and organizations. Nonprofits are not wealth-building.
Okay, I would...
That's a very good point, Kevin.
It's sadly untrue, though. I would like to see the pastor not get paid then, if it's not wealth, because pastors around here...
Pastors are taxed.
Pastors are taxed. That money is taxed.
They're gathering wealth and distributing it to individuals in the form of payroll. They also use some of that money to enrich individuals who help the church out. They pay them money that goes in. So, and also, okay, so if they're not wealth-gathering individuals, how do you explain the $2 million in salary and benefits that Dr. Steele gets from this so-called non-profit organization? That's not wealth. $2 million for one person.
He's paying taxes on that.
Well, I know. The church doesn't pay tax. Skip him.
I understand
has
what
nothing
you're
to
saying.
do with him. It's over $1 billion in revenue at Geisinger, and that's a nonprofit. They have a dozen people at Geisinger that earn over $1 million a year, and that's not wealth? You're telling me that's a nonprofit?
The organization is not building wealth. The individuals are building wealth, but not the organization.
I think that is exactly what Bill Roll said there. Perhaps. I mean, it was a different context. He was using churches. But the place where you are celebrating the nonprofit in whatever way, not being taxed makes some sense. The parsonage not being taxed does not make sense to me. I think the pastor should pay for that. But the church itself... I'd like to see them pay taxes, but I have an understanding of why not. Hospitals, I totally disagree with you. They are really helping the community in many ways. A $2 million salary for a guy who does what Glenn Steele does is not amazingly high.
$1 million for a vice president?
Yeah, that's not amazingly high, because that's what businesses pay 10 times that.
How many
Go to Wall Street. I'm sorry, Kevin.
No,
Go
that's
ahead.
all right. I'm sorry. How many for-profit hospitals are making money right now?
I don't know. Hopefully all of them.
Not many.
Well,
I can tell you, the healthcare industry, but the healthcare industry as a whole is not making a ton of money, although it should be when you see your bill.
Oh my gosh.
But the healthcare industry is not making a ton of money.
Listen to
there's that's a hospital that is making money.
Check your facts, buddy. All right, 1-800. We'd love to get people's opinions. Should churches, universities, schools, and nonprofit organizations be taxed? I say absolutely at a fair rate. And
I say maybe some and maybe not.
Stan and Kevin say absolutely not. This system
no,
ain't broken.
maybe some, maybe not. I'm on the maybes.
You're on the hedge.
I'm on the maybes.
And if it's a hedge at a church, it's a non-profit hedge.
I'm just one step ahead of you.
All right. And Kevin says the status quo works perfectly fine. It ain't broken, Lawrence. Get on a different soapbox. 1-800-795-9565 is the open phone. What do you think? Should we tax churches? Should we tax Susquehanna University and the churches consume half the property in Selinsgrove, and they pay zilcho property tax?
Okay, they don't pay property tax. Do they support the police department, the fire department?
Yes.
Do they support?
The university does.
Yeah,
the
university.
Churches. But they give them a
churches
couple $1,000s a year to keep them off their back, because everybody clearly knows they're a for-profit organization. 1-800.
Cynical much?
1-800. Well, I don't even know the phone number.
Sorry.
1-800.
I couldn't help myself.
What did you say?
I said cynical much?
Oh, okay. No, I'm just a realist. 1-800-795-9565.
Cynical realist. Yeah, go ahead with the phone number again.
Should churches be taxed? That's the question. 1-800-795-9565. You're welcome to email us at onthemarket@KOK.com. We'll be right back and hopefully awaiting your phone call.
Come on home to convenience. Come on over with style. Come on home to real savings. service with a real smile.
And why search the newspaper classifieds when the best yard sales are at Kohl's Hardware?
Come on home to Kohl's annual yard sale event for the best prices of the year on seasonal merchandise, overstock items, and closeout products.
Show up early for bargain prices on grills, patio furniture, solar lights, pool toys, lawn and garden merchandise, and more.
Smart yard sale shoppers know that each yard sale is unique, so be sure to shop all 11 Kohl's Hardware locations.
And be sure to shop Kohl's yard sale event often, since the prices keep going down.
Now is the perfect time to buy hand and power tools, fountains, hose carts, statuary, paint, automotive goods, houseware items, and more.
Look for the big white tents at all 11 Kohl's Hardware stores and shop the yard sale. We're right around the corner, right here in your hometown. Come on home to Kohl's.
Come on home to Kohl's. Kohl's Hardware. Come on home to Kohl's.
Here's a bright idea. Why not use light to carry billions of bits of data per second, making network connections hundreds of times faster and much more reliable? That's just what Penn Teledata's fiber optic network does. And we've invested in over 9,000 miles throughout our communities, connecting schools, banks, healthcare networks, and even wireless towers that enable your smartphone to be, well, smart. Know what else is smart? Connecting your business to our fiber network. See the light with Penn Teledata, your recommended source of fiber.
Would you trust a blocked artery to a plumber? Then why trust the health of your network to outdated technology? Connect at the speed of light with Penteledata's state-of-the-art true fiber optic network, offering the smartest, most reliable data connections to keep operations running stronger than ever before. That's why more doctors and business professionals trust their company to Penteledata. When choosing a provider, get a second opinion. You'll be glad you did. Penteledata, your recommended source of fiber.
News and interviews from your community every morning on WKOK Sunrise.
Just learning some different things to eat before and after exercise, kind of boost your energy level.
I like just getting out there and running. I just really like running.
So a person who has a disability is in a wheelchair. We have a good number of people that we are getting to work every day.
News, sports, AccuWeather, and more every morning on WKOK Sunrise on News Radio 1070 WKOK and WKOK.com.
Big Ten Football Media Week is over. We're going to get the take of Adam Rittenberg from ESPN.com today on the Steve Jones Show, 3 to 5, News Radio 1070 WKOK.
I heard a discouraging thing yesterday. It's almost football season.
Well, yeah, it's good that football's coming back. It's bad that summer's nearing an end, so that's the problem.
That's the only part I hate about football season is that summer wanes.
I know. Yes. Well, not as much as it has some other summers. It's been really dry around here. Cindy, you're on the mark.
Hi, Cindy. How are you this morning?
I'm wonderful, thank you. And how are you?
Good.
Good, glad to hear it. First, I want to say props to KOK. I love these ads they're running about don't text and drive. Those young people do a great job. It catches your attention and really motivates you, although I've never done those things because as an ER nurse, I've seen faces that go through the windshield and plan that mine will never do that. So
well, Cindy, let's just hope that people realize that texting or whatever, driving can be fairly dangerous when you think about the fact that you're taking 2 tons of steel, aiming it down the highway at another vehicle that weighs 2 tons, and you pass each other within 6 feet. You probably should be paying attention.
And you know, there's only one thing worse than if your stupidity means that you get injured in that way, right? And it's that you inflict that kind of injury.
But what is your topic this morning, Cindy?
My topic this morning is that I agree with Mark that these organizations should pay taxes just like all the rest of us. And I disagree that they are nonprofit when they're paying management $1 million a year or more. In fact, I think that they're nonprofit when they're paying anybody over $100,000 a year, which the vast majority of national charities are doing. It's just appalling to me the behavior of some of these. This is why we won't give money to national organizations anymore. When I look them up on Charity Navigator and discover the high salaries of the people running these organizations, I'm not interested in lowering my standard of living to raise their salary.
If you're a nonprofit organization like the Red Cross is based in Washington D.C. and you have to live and stay there, could there be some sort of a caveat that slightly over $100,000 could be allowed if you have to be in the hub of activity to try to run your national nonprofit?
No.
Okay.
I don't see it that way.
Well,
How
I
many
agree with
people
you.
live in that area and live on $20,000 a year, $30,000 a year, $40,000 a year? I mean, there's a massive poverty in Washington, D.C.
Gotcha.
So raising up to wealthy levels, 1%, when we talk about these evil 1%ers, what income level do you think that starts at by the government's measure?
Oh, 1%, like $2.5 million a year or something?
No. $250,000 a year.
Oh, okay, that's low.
To amass this millions of 1%ers, they start at $250,000 a year.
Well, Dr. Lemons is a 1%er.
There are a lot of people that are 1%ers. Now, if people voluntarily contribute to these organizations and they don't do their homework, I'm sorry about that. I was sickened. I regularly contributed to the Wounded Warrior Project until I discovered that half of the money is now going to pay the people, not to the injured soldiers or their families, but rather to the infrastructure. And this was exposed by a Florida paper.
I need to stop you there, Cindy, because I'd like to know. I don't know this one way or the other, and I'm sure you have looked it up. Half the money to Wounded Warriors?
Well, there's 6 different Wounded Warrior nonprofit organizations. She's talking about one in particular. There are others.
Okay, so there could be one that's a scam, more of a scam.
Yes.
Well,
But that isn't all of them, is it?
No.
Well, I have not looked all of them up. Unfortunately, I gave money
Hey.
to one, discovered that they were thieves, and I've changed to the Semper Fi Fund. So, but anyway, what I'm saying is, if an organization has $2 billion in reserve, they've made a profit. It didn't fall from the sky. So when these supposedly charitable or nonprofit organizations, like my former university, Penn State, like Geisinger Medical Center, like Penn, all sitting on billions of dollars, that's not nonprofit.
Okay,
right,
thank you very much, Cindy.
I agree. Thank you so much. Well stated, Cindy. Appreciate that. Tony, you're next up on the mark. Thank you so much for being in our audience. You are now officially labeled the 4th smartest man in the world.
4th?
Well, that's his. That's his. I'm not going to label anybody.
The other
Tony.
3 are hosting the show today. Oh, that's my opinion.
When it comes to charities, any charity that spends billions of dollars on television advertising don't need my money.
That's a funny thing. Let's say that television advertising costs $100,000, and that brings in $100 million.
You really think so?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
Well, the ratio's right. The numbers are made up, but the ratio's right.
Yeah, that's the reason that I think Dr. Glenn Steele is worth well over $2 million. He has turned a small hospital, fairly large small hospital in Pennsylvania, into a national organization that does wonderful work. And it's almost, with the help of his friends, his own work.
My discussion isn't about whether he's worth it. He's probably worth far more than that. The issue is that a hospital nonprofit, if they generate $20 million a year just for salaries of the top 12 people. Anyway, Tony's on the line. Go ahead, Tony.
I like to give to the local charities, like Catholic Charities, the local Salvation Army. At least they see what they're doing.
Well, they also tithe to their national organization, so pay attention to that. Watch your dollar.
I know you have to watch. You have to watch everything. But one other question: Susquehanna University, did they change the name of their nickname?
As far as I know, it's still the Crusaders.
Did they pick a different mascot or something just recently?
You know, they
changed
might have
something associated
maybe
with
a
that.
mascot, maybe somebody from Susquehanna. They're all off for the summer now, of course.
Right. I don't think it was related to political correctness or anything. I was just trying to get a more fascinating character.
But they
didn't they change it to a squirrel?
They're still the Crusaders.
Yes, and a squirrel. Kevin is right. They changed it to a squirrel, and
but it's not the Susquehanna Squirrels. It's still the
Not that I'm
Crusaders.
aware of, yeah.
That's like Alabama to the Crimson Tide with their mascot's an elephant. Figure that one out.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good day.
You too.
Fourth smartest man in the world.
Now that is
Tony from Slogan.
interesting, changing their mascot to a squirrel. I don't
They're
know.
overrun with squirrels.
Well, I knew that. Our house could be also celebrated as a squirrel house. We have acorns galore. Last fall was a great acorn year, which means that now is a great squirrel year.
You're the only house you go to. They give you a hard hat when you come to visit, so
Yes.
you sit outside.
And that is literal. At the right time of the year, we have to protect ourselves from acorns falling from 70 feet in the air.
But you were going to say something else about mascots?
Oh, yeah.
SU.
I didn't understand why it turned into a squirrel, other than there are lots of squirrels on campus. What did they have before? Did they have
It was a caped-wearing tiger.
Okay, and he was a crusader of some
The
type.
Caped Crusader.
Okay, so the squirrel could wear a cape and it would be the same idea.
I don't know that the squirrel wears a cape for sure, but I honestly have not seen it. I remember when it happened. I have not seen
He
it.
wears a nice little waistcoat with a bow tie.
It happened in the early spring of this year.
All right, should churches be taxed? Should Geisinger be taxed just like the rest of us dogs? Or should they stay nonprofit so they can distribute billions of dollars to people? They're obviously not nonprofit. Let us know your opinion about this. 1-800-795-9565. That's the Groninger Insurance toll-free line. 1-800-795-9565. Lenape Solar email in basket open. Email on the market at KOK.com and let us know if it's the nonprofit status for churches, universities, and schools should stay the same. Why? Kevin says they don't contribute wealth to taxpayer or to
They don't create wealth.
stockholders, right?
I'll tell you what, I think we ought to be getting the money from Dr. Glenn Steele by taxing him higher than we do, because he's a 1%er, and that means, though none of his own work, he's not paying the taxes that you and I are.
All right, here we go. 1-800-795-9565 on the market at KOK.com. Main sponsor is the Sunbury Motor Company.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
Come on home to convenience. Come on over with style. Come on home to real savings. Service with the real smile.
Hey, why search the newspaper classifieds when the best yard sales are at Kohl's Hardware?
Come on home to Kohl's annual yard sale event for the best prices of the year on seasonal merchandise, overstock items, and closeout products.
Show up early for bargain prices on grills, patio furniture, solar lights, pool toys, lawn and garden merchandise, and more.
Smart yard sale shoppers know that each yard sale is unique, so be sure to shop all 11 Kohl's Hardware locations.
And be sure to shop Kohl's yard sale event often, since the prices keep going down.
Now is the perfect time to buy hand and power tools, fountains, hose carts, statuary, paint, automotive goods, houseware items, and more.
Look for the big white tents at all 11 Kohl's Hardware stores and shop the yard sale. We're right around the corner, right here in your hometown. Come on home to Kohl's.
Come on home to Kohl's. Kohl's Hardware. Come on home to Kohl's.
1-800-795-9565, biggest nonprofit in Selinsgrove, known by the moniker Crusaders, the Susquehanna University Crusaders. One of our listeners sends a note, says the Crusaders were bloody, murderous military campaigns sanctioned by the Catholic Church during the Middle Ages, designed to switch you to Catholicism or, quite frankly, kill you.
No wonder the Lutheran institution of Susquehanna decided maybe Crusaders was not the best symbol, because I do believe the founder of your church was kind of anti-Catholic.
Right. Well, we attract new people with big dinners and meals and stuff. That's how we do it. We ply you with delicious high-fat food.
And the Catholics have huge edifices with gold and beauty and tall, whatever you call those places where you sit in a church.
They have their own nonprofit city.
That's right.
All right, 1-800-795-9565. Feel free to call us. I'm Mark Lawrence, subpar host of the show. Across from me, the greatest teacher from Turtleville, and he is Stan Mitchell. And the wisdom of the Danvillians is here.
Yes,
that is
the diva. No,
I
you
do
can't
not
be a
speak.
diva.
I do not speak for the entire borough.
Oh, okay. Well, so these are
just for a small section of said borough.
Right. He speaks for his household, where everybody falls in lockstep with his opinion.
You're darn right.
He doesn't speak for the borough, and let the horses speak for themselves.
All right. 1-800-795-9565. Should churches be taxed or not?
And my opinion is that it's up in the air. There are places that I know should be taxed and aren't. And there are places which probably give so much to the community anyway that maybe they shouldn't be taxed. And I guess the break is on nonprofits. And I think that if we had a tax collector, somebody who's a tax professor perhaps, we would find that the nuances in this nonprofit business are pretty closely watched and maybe could be tweaked. But I think that we're pretty careful about who we don't tax. Churches are the perhaps the outlier, because we don't know what the churches do. With charities, we have some idea of where the money goes. With churches, we're not sure of that. You hope that they use it well. They can, and some don't. But it would be hard to get in there and start taxing the churches. Though I'm on your side. They use the cops, they use the roads, they use all the things that you and I pay for. They should help.
You know, Charles Eliot was a Harvard president in the early 1900s, and he testified before a committee on taxation and said, the things that make it worthwhile to live anywhere in the civilized world are precisely the things which are not taxed. And to tax churches, to following up with what he says, and this is not his quote, but to tax churches kind of discourages the work that they do, and any nonprofit does, and then double taxes the individuals who support it.
That's funny. So if you go to a church and you are struck by the inspirational message at the UCC church where you attend, and the preacher is saying, I want you to help feed the poor, and I want you to help clothe the homeless, and I would really like you to make sure that you're praying for the people that are sick, you're going to say, oh boy, I'd love to do that, but I'm taxed. The church is taxed, so I'm really not going to carry out Jesus' mission here, because I have to pay my fair share in taxes. I think the inspirational message would probably help you to overcome that
I'm
tax.
not even going to respond.
I know. That's right. It's just my
so
opinion.
Ridiculous.
You can't be inspired by God's message because we're taxed. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I agree with you. I don't think that is going to stop anybody who is charitable. It bothers me that I heard 2 or 3 people call on the phone today who say, I don't give to that organization anymore because they pay their top people too much. Now, the problem is we still have wounded warriors. The problem is we still have cancer victims. The problem is we still have people who the government does not help, though they should, and we have to help them. How do we do that? I think part of it is by making sure that there aren't taxes in certain areas.
Why aren't nonprofits taxed? Kevin alluded to the fact that they don't generate wealth. Another person sent me a note that says churches don't pay school taxes because they don't generate children.
I'd say I can remember one church who didn't. The Shakers did not generate children, and you know how many Shakers you know today.
But this is the physical facility.
I got it.
Campus.
Yeah, I got it.
No, I would agree with that. I mean, the people that are in the church that are already members or supporting the church, because we're using a church as an example here, are paying that tax already.
Well, but you go to a store, but the store has to pay property taxes also.
But the store is generating wealth for its ownership.
We're back on the property.
I think that I'll bet.
That's what tax is. Tax is on.
Kevin, I think
I'm clear on the argument. I just don't agree with it.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think Mark is clear on the argument. He doesn't agree. Do you see Mark's point of view, Kevin?
Do. I think he's wrong, but I see his point of view.
And Mark, can you see Kevin's point of view and maybe half of mine?
Well, I can see how you could try to say a for-profit company generates wealth, therefore should have to share that with the community. I mean, I can understand why a business should pay their fair share, but I don't understand why a church. I mean, so many nonprofits are misused that really the only way to clarify it would be to hit the reset button. Cindy called in about an organization, half their money goes to fundraising, and really there's a lot worse examples than that.
Oh, my goodness, yes. I won't stand up for
so
any
we need to hit
this.
the reset button on this.
We do have an email here.
Second smartest woman in the world, I might add, says, does Cindy use the same executive pay criteria when she decides which businesses she shops at? For example, Walmart's CEO makes $23 million. Its workers at the local store make $8 per hour, and many qualify for food stamps, WIC, Medicaid, and Section 8 housing. McDonald's, Starbucks, and Dollar General, Gap, TJ Maxx, Target, CVS, Best Buy, and AT&T Wireless all have CEOs who make about 1,000 times more than their employees, says Melissa.
That's exactly what I agree with and exactly what I think is very important.
Got a lot of callers and not a lot of time. Dave, you get a minute, and then we go to Dan. Go right ahead. You're on the mark.
All righty. Well, while you're talking about the churches or whatever that shouldn't pay tax because they don't produce children, or shouldn't pay school tax because they don't produce children, what about the poor Amish folks that they not only pay your regular school tax, they don't use it because they send their kids to the Amish school?
Well, same for people who use private schools,
so
too.
Yeah, so they're the same way as people with private schools, so they're getting double taxed.
Right, yeah, that's a factor. And if you hit the reset button, everybody pays their fair share. Every building, every campus, every person pays their fair share. It'll be, well, quote,
while you're going on about what ones don't pay, well, what about the ones that are paying double? So,
yep.
Thanks a lot,
guys.
Dave.
Good
Thank
point.
you.
Thank you. And Dan, last caller of the day.
Hey, good morning.
Good night.
Mike.
Good night. No, I mean good morning.
Yes. Somebody asked why tax exempt was set up in the first place. Well, I had answered this before on your program, but the authorities that set it up felt any organization that was for the greater good of humanity, which included churches, hospitals, is the reason they set it up that way, to improve society in general.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, but businesses do that too.
Pardon?
Businesses can do that too. You could have a for-profit business like this one, for example, that our mission statement doesn't have anything to do with making money. It has something, it has a lot to do, I don't remember it exactly, but it has a lot to do with helping the community and giving nonprofits voice and making sure that political discussions take place.
Yeah,
so we do that.
It is complicated, I agree.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you, and have a good one.
We are running out of time. I just say let's tax the 1% the way they should be taxed, and we don't have this discussion nearly as much because there will be a lot more money flowing into charities.
But I think it's great that Mark and I can disagree in a civil yet sometimes entertainingly heated way.
Mark and I are going to have a fist fight after.
That's entertaining to me.
Then I'm going to sue him for beating up an old man.
And the funny thing is, I'm going to punch both of them standing up for the church. It just doesn't seem right. It's not right.
See you next Wednesday.
Wisdom of Winfield and the diva from. No, we got to switch that. That's not right. From Dan. This is WKOK Sunbury.